But let's start with the current events and fill in the blanks. And we start, of course, with J.J. Watt. So, Marcus, the Arizona Cardinals are blank % better with Watt on the roster.
Like 5% better? I mean, they're certainly better. There's absolutely no doubt about that. When you put Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, you're going to be a better team. But, Adam, I still think going into the year, they're the fourth best team in the NFC West just because I trust the other three coaches more. Pete Carroll, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. I think they're all better. They're more experienced than what Cliff Kingsbury is. I love Kyler Murray. It's just a team that's good, but I don't feel like they're ready to take the next step. So even despite the J.J. Watt addition, it's not enough for me to think that they're a playoff team yet.
I was going to say 5% too, but that's kind of boring. I'll say 3-4%,
Sure.
which is also still relatively boring. He's not the same difference making player that he was, but he could still be really good. And if he is healthy, it's a nice pickup. And I think for a fit there, it makes sense for them to give this a try, but I'm just curious the kind of player that we're going to get. If he stays upright, look, if this works the way it should and he's healthy and still has it, it changes things for them. He's at least slightly.
He's not an all-pro player anymore, but can he be a borderline Pro Bowl player? Sure, I think that's possible. And on that defense, they desperately need another playmaker. So if he can be anything close to a Pro Bowler, the Cardinals will be very happy.
In terms of content, he's a Pro Bowler, Marcus, because he'll continue to show empty gyms at 3 a.m. about how hard he's working. Buddy, try sleeping in your son's tiny, Mario bed, okay, when he can't sleep and then waking up with a sore neck. I don't take pictures of that, J.J. Watt. Content machine, not bitter at all.
That's a real grind right there. Yeah.
I'm exhausted. He's going to Arizona. We will probably rarely hear about him anymore. I'm just tired. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's talk about a team. Speaking of tired, the Washington football team, although I'm not tired of this topic. Blank will start for WFT in 2021. I'm very interested to get your answer here.
I think a week or 2 weeks ago, I would have said Marcus Mariota. Now I'm saying Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton, who has a great relationship with Ron Rivera, is ultimately going to be a bridge quarterback there in Washington for whoever they draft this year. I think Washington is going to be aggressive in the draft this year, trying to get one of those top 4 or 5 quarterbacks. Cam will be the week 1 starter, and I think he'll be good enough to keep this Washington team in the playoff hunt.
All right. I listened to Joe Douglas today talk about the Jets, and I had some takeaways. I don't know if you heard this, Marcus.
I did.
Sam Darnold's getting traded. He didn't say as such, but I think it's pretty clear that Sam Darnold's getting traded. I think Sam Darnold's going to be I think he'd be a great fit there. I'd actually think it'd be an awesome fit. I could see that working for whatever it is, a 2nd round pick, most likely. If I'm Washington, I give that thing a go. And maybe Heineke's the guy too, by the way, because he played well. You know how I feel about him in the 1 game sample size. But for me, I'll say Sam Darnold, only because he has to go somewhere. And I think the list of teams has shrunk a little bit over the last couple of weeks.
I'll be honest, that's not my favorite fit for Sam Darnold. I'd like to see him in a more play action zone read offense. Listen, to me, the perfect fit will always be Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers. You put him in that offense, I think he could be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. I think he'd be fine with Washington, but I don't think we're going to see him reach his highest potential. So that makes sense, and I could see why Washington would be open to doing that, but it's not my favorite destination for Sam.
I don't want him to go to San Fran. He'll be awesome.
I know.
He'll be depressing.
I know.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm going to move past it. Chris Sims rank, Zach Wilson, best quarterback in the class. I've already moved on mentally. All right. Drew Brees workout. By the way, real quick, Drew Brees, hair, best comeback of the offseason. Marcus, you see that thing? That dude's got outstanding looking hairline, if I may say so. So that alone is a big win. But what do you make of the Drew Brees workout? The Drew Brees workout is blank.
Getting him ready for TV. You don't get that hair done if you're going to play one more year in the NFL, right? You get it done because you're going into the booth. We saw this with Jason Witten. I believe it was in the 2018 season.
Oh, it was so bad.
Got it all redone. We saw it with Brian Urlacher. You got reseated at the top. That's what's going on for Drew Brees. We're going to see him in the Fox booth very shortly, and it should be fun.
Okay, so the workout to you is nothing. It's just a dude trying to stay in shape. right?
Saying fit for TV. Yep.
I'm with you. The workout is good content, right? This is the theme is content, of course, in this first section. I still will believe it when I see it. That's a dude that went through it last year. It's a guy that can make a ton of money talking about football. I just don't think either of those two, the team or Brees, wants to go down that route again.
Do you think he's going to be good on TV?
I think he'll be good. Okay. I mean, he had his little PR nightmare, right? If you think about it, that he navigated okay. He seems like a pretty personable guy. Of course, Tony Romo now is probably the standard, whether you agree with it or not. Is he going to be that? No, but I think he'll be fine. What do you think?
I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to take his lumps the first couple of years doing it. He's going to have to kind of develop his own voice, but I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be a nice guy to have on the second Fox game on a Sunday afternoon slate.
Perfectly said. This ain't the Monday night guy, but he's going to fit in just fine, and it'll probably be a little rough. Not Jason Witten rough, by the way, but rough, and then get better over time as is expected. Okay, I love this departure because we're going to start to get down the draft rabbit hole shortly when it comes to this stuff. But blank will be the biggest draft steal in your eyes.
Elijah Moore from Ole Miss.
Oh, man, I almost picked him.
He's so good. So in case you aren't familiar with him, this is a smaller receiver, 5'9", 180 pounds. Not the fastest receiver in the world, but he just finds a way to win. So, Adam, I went back and looked at some of his stats when he was playing with DK Metcalf, when A.J. Brown was there, Dawson Knox, DeMarcus Lodge, another receiver that got drafted late. He posted 600 yards as a freshman, which is utterly insane. I think he is going to be like a Randall Cobb type of receiver in the NFL. Maybe goes second round of the draft. I think he's got superstar potential, and I cannot wait to see him in the NFL.
Marcus, I almost picked him. It's a crowded wide receiver class. Obviously, you and I have invested a lot of time in the whole Jamar Chase, Waddle, Smith conversation. There's a really good group, the Rondell Moore-ish type guys that I think workouts will dictate where they go. I'm with you, man. I think somebody is going to get an absolute gem. I don't know, maybe like you said, late first, early second, somewhere in there, but one of those guys is going to fall. I'm going to go Trey Sermon, by the way. And again, I shot a video early today, Marcus, talking about kind of who's going to be the first running back draft. And you look at them, there's some heat at the top with ETN and Harris. And then the statistics were gaudy when you look at Sermon down the stretch against Northwestern. Obviously, the numbers were cartoonish, was great against Clemson. But more than that, I just love him physically. It's a real shame we didn't get to see him crack up against that Alabama front. I would have loved to have seen what he'd done. Obviously got hurt basically in the first play. And that's a shame. But physically, you look at his path, from Oklahoma to Ohio State, can catch the ball. Like, I just think that guy, if he ends up in the right system, he's probably going to slip a bit. I think he could be awesome.
It's really funny you say that because that was the second guy I had on my list because awesome. I think when I watch him, Adam, I've got some flashbacks of like Arian Foster running style.
Yeah.
It's 1 foot and then downhill runner, very violent, but also has speed in the open field. You mentioned the Northwestern game. That was the most rushing yards that an Ohio State running back has ever had in a single game. And they've had some pretty decent ones there at Ohio State before. So I think this is somebody that probably goes, third, fourth round seems about right. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he turns out to be better than Najee Harris or Travis Etienne.
He's good. If he ends up in a really good spot, it could be fabulous. He's going to end up in a really great situation. Again, workouts and everything else, assuming he's healthy, should be really interesting. Okay, last one. Go to my Cowboys source for this. Jerry Jones should pay Dak Prescott blank.
Like the number one quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I know he's not Patrick. I know he's not Patrick Mahomes, and he might not even be Deshaun Watson, and he's not Aaron Rodgers. But we've let this go too far, and that's what the market dictates. Because if he becomes a free agent next year, Adam, I can guarantee you he's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. So just make him the highest paid quarterback now, get a long-term deal done, and in the long run, you'll save money because the way that these contracts always work is they keep getting one-upped every single year. With the new TV money coming in 2022, you're going to see these contracts just go through the roof. Pay him now, and then 2-3 years from now, that deal will look like a steal. So give him what he wants, and it'll be all okay for the Cowboys.
That was exactly what I wrote down, what he wants. Pay him what he wants. And I know that's within reason, right? If you this is not a blank check situation, but and I don't think Jerry obviously likes being in this really uncomfortable. He's got no leverage, Mark.
None.
Like
he's already admitted it. They have none.
They have none. And we saw last year that truly his absence probably elevated his value. It did elevate his value. And so you've got to pay him. You've got no choice. The alternative is being in QB hell, which is something I know all too well. And frankly, that's what's at stake is playoff viability for like the next decade. And do you want that or not? And how much is that worth to you? It's worth quite a bit.
And I know a lot of people are saying there's a lot of risk for Prescott here playing on the franchise tag, but buddy, listen, he just broke his ankle. The bone literally came out of his leg, right? And his value still went up 7 million and he missed 11 games last year. If he plays 16 games, he's going to be the highest quarterback paid in the NFL. Just get it done and be over with it.
Yeah, he's gotten like 75 million in risk guaranteed, by the way. It's okay. Like, I mean, there's worse risk situations to be in, and you hit it on the head. Like we just did that and nothing happened. So of course there's risk. This sport is crazy. It's it's madness. But in some sense, like if he gets hurt, someone will still pay him hundreds of millions of dollars to play quarterback, regardless.